The ships did not attack. They did not move. They just stayed there, floating above every major city, blocking out pieces of the sky like giant bruises. For 3 days, the world waited. People filled the streets. Some prayed, some screamed, some just stood and stared upward with their mouths open. Governments sent radio signals. They sent light pulses. They even sent aircraft to fly around the ships. Nothing worked. The ships did not respond. On the 4th day, a smaller ship came down. It landed in Geneva, Switzerland, in the middle of a field near the United Nations building. It was smooth and silver, shaped like a teardrop. A door opened, and 3 figures walked out. They were tall, much taller than any human. Their skin was a deep blue, and their eyes were large and golden, like coins. They wore long robes that seemed to move on their own, shifting colors with every step. They looked at the crowd of soldiers and diplomats waiting for them, with no expression at all. "We are envoys of the Galactic Council," one of them said. Its voice was smooth and perfect. "We wish to speak with your leaders." Within hours, a meeting was set up inside the United Nations building. Representatives from every country on Earth filled the Great Hall. Cameras broadcast the event to every screen on the planet. The whole world was watching. The 3 envoys stood at the front of the room. They did not sit. They did not seem to need to. The lead envoy spoke. "Your species has developed spatial displacement technology. You call it teleportation. This technology is classified as Level 7 by the Galactic Council. It is not permitted for unregistered species." The room was silent. No one moved. "The Council has existed for 900,000 of your years," the envoy continued. "It maintains order among the civilized species of this galaxy. New species are observed. When they are deemed ready, they are invited to join. Until that time, they are expected to remain within their own system." A murmur went through the crowd. Ji-won, who had been sitting near the back with the Korean delegation, leaned forward in her seat. She was 38 years old, small, with sharp eyes and a calm face. She had spent 15 years as a diplomat, handling the most difficult negotiations on Earth. But nothing had prepared her for this. The envoy raised a long, thin hand. "We are not here to punish you. We are here to inform you. You will surrender all spatial displacement technology. You will destroy your research. You will remain on your planet until the Council decides you are ready for wider contact. This is not a request." The hall exploded with noise. People shouted. Some slammed their hands on tables. The envoys watched it all without blinking. Over the next 2 days, the world's governments argued. Some wanted to give in. Some wanted to fight. Some said it was all a trick. Ji-won sat in a small room with the Korean president and listened. "Someone has to talk to them properly," the president said. "Not with fear, not with anger. We need someone who can think clearly." He looked at Ji-won. "I am recommending you as Earth's lead negotiator." Ji-won felt her stomach drop. "Sir, there are many diplomats with more experience. Experience with other humans, yes. But you are the only one I know who never loses her calm. You do not react. You think. That is what we need right now." She accepted. She did not want to, but she accepted. The next morning, Ji-won walked into a smaller meeting room where the 3 envoys waited. She was alone. She had asked for no guards, no advisors, no cameras. Just her and them. She sat down across from them and folded her hands on the table. "Thank you for meeting with me," she said. The lead envoy tilted its head. "You are different from the others. You are not afraid." "I am very afraid," Ji-won said, "but fear does not help anyone in a conversation." The envoy studied her for a long moment. "You are wise for your species. This will make things easier. You understand that you must comply." I understand that you believe we must comply, Jiwan said carefully, but I have some questions first. Ask. You said the council has existed for 900,000 years. In that time, how many species have developed this technology on their own? The envoy paused. 14. And how many of those 14 were told to give it up? Another pause. All of them. And how many agreed? The silence in the room was heavy. The envoy's golden eyes narrowed just slightly. All of them agreed, eventually. Jiwan nodded slowly. What happened to the ones who did not agree at first? The envoy did not answer, but its eyes moved to the other two envoys for just a moment. It was a small movement, but Jiwan caught it. There was something there, something the envoy did not want to say. I see, Jiwan said. She took a slow breath. Here is my problem. Earth is a planet of 8 billion people. We fight among ourselves constantly. We cannot agree on anything. But there is one thing that every human, in every country, in every language, understands. We do not like being told what to do. The envoy leaned forward. This is not about what you like. This is about the stability of the galaxy. I understand. But if you take this technology from us by force, you will not get stability. You will get resistance. Not today, not tomorrow, but eventually. Humans do not forget. We hold on to anger for generations. You will have to watch us forever. The envoy was quiet for a long time. Then it spoke. You are asking us to let you keep the technology. No, Jiwan said. I am asking you to give us time. Let us prove that we can use it responsibly. Send observers. Set rules. We will follow them. But do not cage us. It will not end well for anyone. The envoy stood. It looked down at Jiwan with those golden eyes. I will bring your words to the council. But I will tell you this honestly, human. The council does not give second chances. If your species causes trouble, you will not be asked again. You will be contained, permanently. Jiwan held its gaze. I understand. The envoys left Earth 2 days later. The ships above the cities remained. They were watching. Jiwan called Yuna that night. They had never met before, but the president had given Jiwan full access to everything related to the teleportation project. She needed to know what she was negotiating for. The council will come back, Jiwan said, and when they do, they will not be asking. They will be telling. Yuna's voice was steady on the other end. How long do we have? I do not know. Weeks, maybe months. Then we need to use that time. There is someone you should meet. His name is Taeho. He built the machine. I know who he is. Good. And there is someone else, a physicist named Hana. She has been working on something since the ships appeared. Something that might change this whole situation. Jiwan closed her eyes. She had stood in front of beings from another world and kept her voice steady. She had bought Earth some time, but she knew it was not enough. Words alone would not save them. They needed something more. Set up a meeting, Jiwan said. All 4 of us, somewhere private. Already done, Yuna replied. Tomorrow night. Taeho's garage. Jiwan almost laughed. The fate of the human race, and they were meeting in a garage in Busan. But then again, that was where it had all started. Maybe that was exactly the right place. She packed a small bag and caught the last train south. Outside the window, the dark shape of a council ship hung in the sky above Seoul, silent and patient. Jiwan looked at it for a long time. We are not done, she whispered to the ship, knowing it could not hear her. Not even close. The garage looked even smaller, with 4 people in it. Taeho had tried to clean up. He had pushed the empty noodle cups into a corner and thrown a blanket over a pile of dirty clothes. It did not help much. The place still smelled like burned metal and instant food. Yuna arrived first, wearing her military jacket as always, her eyes scanning the room like she was checking for threats. Jiwon came next, quiet and neat in a dark coat, looking at the machine in the center of the room with careful curiosity. Last was Hana. Hana was not what Taeho expected. She was small, even shorter than Jiwon, with messy hair pulled back with a rubber band and glasses that kept sliding down her nose. She wore an old university sweater with a stain on the sleeve. She carried a laptop under one arm and a thick notebook under the other. But when she looked at Taeho's machine, her eyes changed. They became bright and focused, like a cat watching a bird. "So this is it," she said. "This is the teleporter." "That is it," Taeho said. Hana walked around it slowly, touching the metal frame, looking at the wires. She opened her notebook and started writing things down. "The rotating field. Yes, I read your notes. Clever, very clever. Thank you. But it is not enough." The room went quiet. Taeho frowned. "What do you mean?" Hana pushed her glasses up and turned to face all three of them. "The Council has ships above our cities. Big ships. They have been traveling between stars for almost 1,000,000 years. They have weapons we cannot imagine. Teleportation is impressive, yes, but it is just a door. We can walk through it, but what do we do on the other side? If they decide to destroy us, a door will not save us." Yuna crossed her arms. "Then what will?" Hana opened her laptop and turned it toward them. The screen showed a complicated diagram. Lines, circles, equations. Taeho recognized some of it. It was based on his work, but Hana had taken it much, much further. "Your teleporter bends space," Hana said, pointing at the screen. "It creates a fold between 2 points and opens a passage through it. That is beautiful physics. But bending space is only the first step. What if we could break it?" Jiwon spoke for the first time. "Break space? What does that mean?" "It means releasing the energy that holds space together at a very specific point, like cracking a glass." Hana clicked to the next page. More equations. "Space holds an enormous amount of energy. More than any bomb. More than any weapon ever made. If you release that energy near a star, the star would react violently." The room was very quiet. Taeho stared at the screen. He understood the math. He understood what she was describing. And it terrified him. "You want to build a weapon," he said. "No," Hana said firmly. "I want to build a warning. There is a difference." Yuna leaned forward. "Explain." Hana closed her laptop and sat down on an old crate. "The Council controls the galaxy through fear. Every species obeys them, because every species is afraid of what happens if they do not. But what if a species had something the Council was afraid of? Not an army, not a fleet, just one device. One device that could shake a star. You would not need to use it. You would just need to show that you could." Jiwon nodded slowly. "A deterrent. Exactly. Right now, the Council sees us as children, small, weak, easy to control. If we show them that we have the ability to do something this powerful, they will have to treat us differently. Not as pets, as equals." Yuna looked at Taeho. "Can you build it?" Taeho ran his hand through his hair. "This is 1,000 times more complex. The power needed alone would be incredible." "I have already solved the power problem," Hana said quietly. She opened her notebook to a page covered in small, tight handwriting. "We do not need to generate the energy ourselves. We just need to release the energy that is already there, in space. The device would be small, maybe the size of this room. The teleporter sends it to the right location. Then it activates." Taeho took the notebook and read the equations. His eyes moved faster and faster down the page. He looked up at Hana with wide eyes. "This could actually work." "I know," she said. Over the next 3 months, they worked in secret. Yuna used her military connections to get them a hidden facility. It was an old submarine base built into the cliffs on the southern coast, abandoned years ago. Damp, cold, and dark, but completely hidden from the council ships above. Taeho and Hana worked side by side every day. They argued constantly. Hana was messy and fast, jumping from idea to idea, filling notebooks with scribbled notes. Taeho was careful and slow, checking every calculation 3 times before moving forward. They drove each other crazy, but together they made progress that neither could have made alone. Jiwon handled the outside world. She attended meetings with the council envoys who had returned, buying time with careful words and polite smiles. She asked questions about council history, about their laws, about how decisions were made. The envoys thought she was trying to learn how to obey. She was actually learning how the council thought, where their weaknesses were, what they feared. She contacted military leaders from 12 countries, people she trusted, people who understood that the council was not offering friendship. She set up hidden communication lines that bounced through Taeho's teleportation relays, invisible to the council's sensors. She moved supplies, equipment, and people through small teleportation doors that opened for just seconds at a time. The council watched Earth from above, but they were not looking closely enough. They had seen 1,000 young species before. They expected fear. They expected obedience. They expected humans to argue among themselves and eventually give in. They did not expect Hana. On the 78th day, the device was finished. It sat in the center of the old submarine base, a ring of dark metal about 2 meters wide, surrounded by cables and sensors. It did not look dangerous, but the equations said it could release enough energy to shake a star. Hana stood in front of it, her hands in the pockets of her sweater, looking at it with an expression that was half pride and half fear. "We need to test it," she said. "If we test it, the council will notice," Yuna said. "That is the point," Jiwon said from the doorway. She had just arrived from another meeting with the envoys. Her face was tired but calm. "They gave us their answer today. The council has voted. They are sending a containment fleet. They plan to lock down our entire solar system. No one in, no one out. Permanently." The room felt colder. Taeho looked at the device, then at Hana, then at Yuna. "How long until they arrive?" he asked. The envoys said, 30 of our days. They seemed very pleased about it. Yuna's jaw tightened. 30 days. Then we test it in 29, Hana said. We find an empty star, far away from anyone. We send the device through the teleporter. We crack the glass. And then the whole galaxy hears us. Taeho closed his eyes. 3 years ago, he had been a tired man in a garage, trying to open a door. Now he was helping to build something that could shake the stars. He thought about his mother, about the port in Busan, about the ships he used to watch as a child, going out to sea. He opened his eyes. Let us get to work. They had 29 days to change the balance of power in the galaxy, and every single day would count. The 29 days passed like water through open fingers. Fast. Too fast. Taeho slept 3 hours a night, sometimes less. He ate when Yuna put food in front of him. He drank coffee until his hands shook, and then he drank more. Hana was worse. She slept on the floor next to the device, her notebook open on her chest, a pen still in her hand. The device needed adjustments every day. Small things. A wire that carried too much heat, a sensor that lost its signal, a connection that buzzed when it should have been silent. Taeho and Hana fixed each problem as it came, one after another, like patching holes in a sinking boat. On the 15th day, something went wrong. A power surge ran through the ring and melted a section of the inner frame. The metal glowed red, then white, and Taeho pulled Hana away just before it cracked and fell to the floor. They stood there, breathing hard, looking at the broken piece of metal on the ground. 2 weeks of work, Hana said quietly. Gone. Taeho looked at the ring, then he picked up a wrench. Then we build it again. Better this time. Hana stared at him. Then she pushed her glasses up her nose and grabbed her notebook. Better this time, she repeated. They rebuilt the damaged section in 4 days. This time, they used a different metal that Yuna had found through her network. It was stronger. It held the heat. On the 20th day, Ji-won came to the base with news. Her face was gray. She had not been sleeping either. The containment fleet has left Council space, she said. Our signals picked them up 6 hours ago. They are moving faster than the envoys told us. We have maybe 12. The room went cold. Yuna was the first to speak. Can we be ready? Hana looked at the device. She walked around it, touching each connection, counting under her breath. She opened her notebook and flipped through pages. The device is ready, she said, but the teleporter relay is not. We need to send this device to a star that is far enough from any inhabited system that we do not hurt anyone, but close enough to the Council's sensor network that they will see the blast. Taeho pulled up a star map on his laptop. He had been studying it for weeks. There is a star here, he said, pointing to a small dot on the screen. It is a red giant. Old, no planets, no life. It is on the edge of Council space, right next to one of their main sensor stations. If we shake this star, every sensor in the galaxy will scream. How far? Yuna asked. About 4,000 light-years. Can the teleporter reach that far? Taeho hesitated. I have never tried. The farthest I have sent anything is to Mars. This is millions of times farther. But the math says it can work? Hana asked. The math says it can work, but the math also said the original power surge would not melt the frame, and look what happened. Hana smiled a little. It was the first time Taeho had seen her smile in weeks. The math was right about the frame. We just used the wrong metal. The math is never wrong, Taeho. Only our choices are. They spent the next 8 days preparing the teleportation relay. Taeho built a larger version of his original machine, one that could open a door wide enough to push the device through, and far enough to reach across the galaxy. It needed enormous power. Yuna connected it to 3 separate military power stations through hidden cables. On the 28th day, everything was ready. They stood in the submarine base, all 4 of them, looking at the device sitting in front of the large teleportation ring. The ring hummed softly. The device was silent. We should talk about what happens if this does not work, Ji-won said. If it does not work, the fleet arrives, and they lock us in forever, Yuna said. So it needs to work. Ji-won turned to Hana. Are you sure about this? Once we do this, there is no going back. The Council will know what we can do. They will either respect us or try to destroy us. Hana looked at the device she had spent 3 months building. She thought about all the nights she had spent on the cold floor, all the fear she had pushed down deep inside her chest so it would not stop her from working. I am sure, she said. Taeho sat down at his laptop. His hands were shaking again, but not from coffee this time. He typed in the coordinates of the red giant star, 4,000 light-years away. He checked the numbers. He checked them again. He looked at Yuna. Ready? Yuna nodded. He looked at Ji-won. Do it, she said. He pressed the button. The teleportation rings screamed to life. The air in the base twisted and cracked. A circle of white light appeared inside the ring, larger than any door Taeho had ever opened. Through it, they could see the star. A massive ball of deep red light, filling the entire opening, so bright that they had to shield their eyes. Sending the device through now, Taeho said. He pressed another button. A mechanical arm pushed the device forward on a metal track. It slid through the opening and disappeared into the light. Devices through, Hana said, watching her sensor readings. It is near the star. Positioning is good. Starting the activation sequence. She typed a command on her laptop. The numbers on her screen started climbing. Energy readings, power levels, things that no human had ever measured before. 30 seconds to activation, she said. The room was silent, except for the hum of the ring. 20 seconds. Taeho watched the star through the opening. It looked peaceful, an old red giant, burning quietly at the edge of the galaxy. In a few seconds, it would not be quiet anymore. 10 seconds. Hana's fingers were steady on the keyboard. Her face was calm. Her eyes were clear. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. She pressed the final key. For one heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the star moved. Not in a direction. It moved inward, like something was squeezing it. The red light turned white, then blue, then a color that Taeho did not have a name for. The star pulsed once, twice, and then it exploded outward in a wave of light and energy that filled the entire teleportation opening. Taeho shut down the ring just in time. The circle of light collapsed, and the base went dark, except for the glow of laptop screens. The sensor readings on Hana's screen were going wild. Numbers that should not exist. Energy levels that broke every scale she had set up. Did it work? Yuna asked. Hana looked at her screen. Then she looked up. Her eyes were wide. It worked, she whispered. It more than worked. The energy wave from that star is spreading across the galaxy right now. Every sensor station the Council has will detect it. Every species with any kind of advanced technology will feel it. Jiwon sat down slowly. How long until the Council sees it? Their sensor station was right next to the star. They already know. By now, every Council member knows. Hana took off her glasses and rubbed her eyes. We just shook a star. The whole galaxy heard it. Yuna looked at Jiwon. Your move, diplomat. Jiwon was quiet for a long time. She looked at her hands. She thought about the envoys with their golden eyes. She thought about how they had looked at her, like she was a child. Like all humans were children. She stood up. Get me a signal to the Council. Open a channel. I have something to say. Taeho opened a small teleportation window, just big enough to send a communication beam through to the nearest Council relay station. Jiwon stood in front of it. This is Jiwon of Earth, she said. We have a message for the Galactic Council. She paused. The whole base was quiet. The whole world was holding its breath, even though the world did not know it yet. The response came faster than anyone expected. Within 6 hours of Jiwon's message, the Council ships above Earth's cities moved for the first time. Not closer, not downward. They moved upward, pulling away from the atmosphere, rising into higher orbit. It was a small movement, but Yuna noticed it immediately. They are scared, she said, watching the satellite feeds on her screen. Not scared, Jiwon corrected. Careful. There is a difference. Scared creatures run away. Careful creatures take a step back and think. That is what they are doing. The containment fleet was still coming. The sensors showed it clearly. Hundreds of ships, moving through space in a tight formation. But they had slowed down. Before the Star Shaker, they had been moving at full speed. Now they were moving at half speed, like someone walking toward a door they were no longer sure they wanted to open. On the second day, the Council's envoys returned to Earth. Same 3 figures, same blue skin and golden eyes, same long robes. But something was different. The way they walked was different. Before, they had moved like they owned the ground beneath their feet. Now they moved carefully, placing each step with thought. They requested a meeting. Not demanded, requested. Jiwon met them in the same room as before, same table, same chairs. But this time, Yuna stood behind her. And this time, Jiwon did not fold her hands politely on the table. She sat back in her chair and waited. The lead envoy spoke first. The Council has detected an event, A star on the edge of our space has been destabilized. Our scientists have analyzed the energy signature. It matches your spatial displacement technology. Ji-won said nothing. You have developed a weapon capable of affecting stellar bodies, the envoy continued. Its voice was still calm, but there was something underneath. A tightness, like a rope being pulled too hard. We developed a device, Ji-won said. Whether it is a weapon depends on how this conversation goes. The envoy's golden eyes narrowed. You are threatening the council. No, I am explaining our situation. You told us to give up our technology and stay on our planet, forever. That was your offer. We are making a different offer. You do not make offers to the council. We do now. The silence that followed was the longest silence Ji-won had ever sat through. She could feel Yuna behind her, steady and still. She could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on the room like deep water. The envoy spoke again, and for the first time, its tone was different, quieter. What do you want? Ji-won leaned forward. We want membership, full membership in the Galactic Council, equal voice, equal vote, equal rights. We want the blockade removed. We want the containment fleet sent home. And we want a formal agreement that no species will be forced to give up technology they have developed on their own. The envoy stared at her. You ask for too much. I ask for exactly what every other council member has, nothing more. Other council members earned their place over thousands of years. We earned ours in 3 months. The envoy turned to the other two. They exchanged looks. Something passed between them. Some kind of silent communication that Ji-won could not read. Then the lead envoy turned back. The council will not accept these terms. Ji-won nodded. She had expected this. Then let me tell you what happens next. We have shown you what we can do to a star that is far away and empty. We do not want to show you what we can do to one that is not, but we will. Not because we are violent. Not because we are cruel, because you are leaving us no choice. She paused. Tell them exactly what I said. Tell them that Earth is not asking for war. Earth is asking for respect. And if respect is not given freely, we will earn it in a way that no one in this galaxy will ever forget. The envoys left within the hour. The ships above Earth cities pulled back even further. Now they were at the edge of the solar system, barely visible on the strongest telescopes, watching, waiting. Tai-ho and Hana spent the next 5 days in the base, refining the device. They did not build another one. They did not need to. The threat was enough. But they made the teleportation relays stronger, faster, more precise. If they needed to act again, they would be ready in seconds. On the 7th day, a signal came through from deep space. Not from the envoys. From the council itself, a direct transmission, sent on a frequency that had never been used before. It was in every language spoken on Earth, just like the first message had been. Ji-won stood in the submarine base and listened. Tai-ho, Hana, and Yuna stood beside her. People of Earth, the message said. The Galactic Council has reviewed your request. After consideration, the Council has decided to grant provisional membership to the human species. You will be assigned a seat. You will be given a voice. Your technology will remain your own. The containment fleet has been recalled. The message continued with details, conditions, and rules. But Ji-won stopped listening after the first part. She closed her eyes and breathed. Yuna put a hand on her shoulder. You did it. We did it, Ji-won said. All of us. Tai-ho leaned against the wall. He looked at the teleportation ring, the machine that had started everything. And he felt tired. Not the bad kind of tired. The kind of tired you feel after climbing a very tall mountain and finally reaching the top. Hana sat on the floor with her notebook in her lap. She was already writing. New equations, new ideas. The Star Shaker was just the beginning. She could see pathways in the math that led to things she could barely imagine. Energy systems, shield technology, things that could protect, not just threaten. What happens now? Taeho asked. Now the real work begins, Jiwon said. Membership means we have to participate. We have to send representatives. We have to learn their laws, their customs, their history. We have to earn the respect of species that have been doing this for hundreds of thousands of years. And we have to be ready, Yuta added. Provisional membership can be taken away. The council agreed because they are afraid of us right now. Fear does not last. We need to give them a reason to keep us that goes beyond fear. Hana looked up from her notebook. I can give them a reason. The Star Shaker is based on an energy release principle. But the same principle can be reversed. Instead of releasing energy, you can collect it, channel it, store it. I have been running the numbers. A single star could power an entire sector of the galaxy for 10,000 years if the energy was collected properly. Yuna raised her eyebrows. You are saying we can offer the Council unlimited energy? I am saying we can offer the galaxy something it has never had before. Something that makes us valuable, not just dangerous. Jiwon smiled for the first time in months. That is how we keep our seat. Not with weapons, with value. We show them that humanity does not just take, we give. Taeho looked at Hana. Can you really build that? Hana pushed her glasses up and smiled back. I built a device that cracked a star in a garage-sized lab. Give me a real facility and 6 months, and I will change the energy map of the galaxy. 2 weeks later, Jiwon stood in a great hall on a space station at the center of the galaxy. She had traveled there through one of Taeho's teleportation doors. The hall was enormous, larger than any building on Earth. Hundreds of species filled the seats, shapes and colors and sizes that Jiwon could never have imagined. Some were tall and thin, some were small and round, some did not seem to have solid bodies at all. She stood at the podium in the center, a small human woman in a dark coat, and she looked out at the gathered species of the galaxy. My name is Jiwon, she said. I represent the people of Earth. We are new here. We are young. We have much to learn. But we come to you not just as members seeking a seat. We come as builders, as creators. We have something to offer this council and every species in it. Not a weapon, not a threat, a gift. She pressed a button, and Hana's energy collection designs appeared on every screen in the hall. She could hear the murmur that went through the crowd. She could see the envoy with the golden eyes sitting in the front row, watching her with a new expression. Not fear, not anger, something closer to curiosity. We ask to stand among you, Jiwon said, as equals. The vote took 3 minutes. It was not close. Back on Earth, Taeho stood in his old garage in Busan. He had not been back in months. It looked the same. The plastic chair, the empty noodle cups, the small window that showed a patch of sky. But the sky was different now. The dark shapes were gone. The council ships had left. The sky was clear and wide and full of stars. Taeho opened a small teleportation door just for himself. Through it, he could see the surface of Mars. Red dust, pink sky, quiet and empty and waiting. His boots crunched on the Martian soil. He looked up at the sky and saw Earth, a tiny blue dot, far away, but still there, still home. He sat down in the red dust and laughed, the same wild, loud laugh from the night he had first opened a door to Jeju Island. The laugh of a man who had changed everything and still could not quite believe it. Somewhere in the galaxy, the council was watching. But for the first time, they were not watching with control. They were watching with wonder. And on a small blue planet, at the edge of a quiet solar system, 8 billion people looked up at the sky and finally saw not a ceiling, but an open door. The garage smelled like burned wire and cheap coffee. Taeho sat on a plastic chair, staring at the machine he had built from scrap metal, stolen university parts, and 3 years of sleepless nights. It did not look like something that would change the world. It looked like a broken washing machine connected to a car battery. He rubbed his eyes. The numbers on his laptop screen were the same as yesterday, the same as the day before. The math said it should work. The math had always said it should work. But every time he pressed the button, nothing happened. Just a small spark, a hum, and then silence. His phone buzzed. It was Yuna. "Still in the garage?" she asked. "Where else would I be?" "Taeho, it has been 3 years. You need to sleep. You need to eat something that is not instant noodles." He looked at the pile of empty noodle cups near the door. She had a point. But he was close. He could feel it. He just needed to find the missing piece. "One more night," he said. "You said that last week." He hung up and turned back to the machine. Yuna was his oldest friend. They had grown up together in Busan, running through narrow streets, watching ships come and go from the port. She had joined the military. He had gone to university to study physics. They were different people now, but she still called him every night to make sure he was alive. Taeho stood up and walked to the machine. He checked every wire, every connection. Everything was in place. He went back to his laptop and looked at the equations again. Then he saw it. A small mistake, not in the math, but in the power flow. He had been sending energy in a straight line, but the field needed to rotate. It needed to spin, like water going down a drain. His hands started shaking. He grabbed a wrench and opened the side panel of the machine. He added a small coil he had taken from an old radio. It took him 20 minutes. When he was done, he stepped back and looked at it. "Okay," he whispered. "One more time." He pressed the button. The machine hummed. Then it screamed. The air in front of it twisted like heat rising from hot ground. A circle of light appeared, no bigger than a door. Through it, Taeho could see something impossible. He could see a beach, white sand, blue water, palm trees moving in the wind. He knew that beach. It was Jeju Island, over 400 kilometers away. His legs felt weak. He sat down on the floor and stared at the glowing circle. It was real. It was actually real. He had built a door to another place. For a long time, he just sat there. Then slowly, he stood up. He reached out his hand and touched the edge of the light. It was warm, just warm, like sunlight through a window. He took a breath and stepped through. The sand was soft under his shoes. The wind hit his face. He could smell salt and flowers. He turned around and saw the circle of light behind him, showing his messy garage on the other side. He laughed. It was a wild, loud laugh that scared some birds out of a nearby tree. He stepped back through into his garage and immediately called Yuna. "Come to my garage," he said. "Now." "Taeho, it is 2 in the morning." "I know. Come now, please." Something in his voice made her stop arguing. She arrived 30 minutes later, still in her military jacket, her hair pulled back in a quick knot. She looked at the machine with tired eyes. "What am I looking at?" she asked. "Watch." He pressed the button. The circle of light appeared again. This time, it showed a mountain, snow on the peak. Cold air rushed through the opening and filled the garage. Yuna did not move. She did not blink. She just stood there, staring at the impossible door. "That is Holasan," she said quietly. "That is the top of Holasan. Yes." "Taeho, that mountain is on Jeju Island." "Yes." She turned to him. Her face was pale. "Do you understand what you have done?" He nodded slowly. "I think so." Yuna walked closer to the circle. She put her hand through it and pulled it back. Her fingers were wet with snow. She looked at Taeho with wide eyes. "We need to tell someone," she said. "I know." "No, you do not know. This changes everything, not just travel, not just science. This changes war. This changes power. This changes who controls what." She grabbed his arm. If the wrong people find out about this before we are ready, they will take it from you, or they will destroy it. Taeho had not thought about that. He was a scientist. He thought about equations and energy fields. Yuna was a soldier. She thought about threats. What do we do? He asked. First, we tell no one. Not yet. Second, we test it more. I need to know how far it can go, how big the opening can get, how much power it needs. Third, we find people we can trust. Over the next 2 weeks, they tested the machine every night. Taeho opened doors to Tokyo, to Beijing, to the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Each jump used more power, but the machine held. Yuna kept notes. She measured distances. She timed how long each door stayed open. On the 14th night, Taeho opened a door to the surface of the moon. They stood in the garage and looked through the circle at the gray, dusty ground. The sky beyond it was black, full of stars. Earth hung in the distance, blue and white and beautiful. Yuna sat down on the floor. She put her face in her hands. Taeho, she said, her voice shaking. This is not just Earth technology anymore. This is something bigger. If there is anyone out there, in those stars, they are going to notice us. Taeho looked at the moon through his little door and felt something cold run down his back. He had been so focused on making it work that he had never stopped to think about what would come next. 3 days later, something appeared in the sky above every major city on Earth. Giant ships, dark metal, no lights, no sound. They just appeared like shadows falling from nowhere. And then, for the first time in human history, a voice spoke to the entire planet at once. It was calm. It was cold. It spoke in every language at the same time. You have been noticed, it said. The Galactic Council requests your immediate cooperation. Taeho stood in his garage, looking up through the small window at the dark shape hanging over Busan. He turned to Yuna. You were right, he said. Yuna looked at the ship, then back at him. Her eyes were hard now. Not scared, not surprised, just hard, like steel. Yes, she said. I was. Now, we get ready.